Even Jesus said, when you see this, run. Run! What could be so terrifying that even Jesus says you run? Jesus told his disciples that when you see what the holy prophet Daniel saw, then you don't fight. You don't pray. You don't argue. You turn and you run. You run like your life depends on it. So what was it that Daniel saw? Imagine Jesus of all people not just telling his disciples, but commanding them that when, not if, but when, you see what the holy prophet Daniel saw, then you get out of Dodge. You click your heels 3 times like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, because Kansas is going bye-bye. Those on the rooftops, you don't go back for your iPhone and wallet, you run. You run like Tom Cruise runs, like Forrest Gump. This all started when the disciples, like in Matthew chapter 24, were admiring the temple, its architecture, the projecting walls, the alcoves and porticos, the parapets. You know, they were in the zone, just drinking it all in. And then Jesus said, every stone in this temple will be thrown to the ground, this whole temple will be destroyed, the time is coming. So it's a good thing Mary Magdalene wasn't there, because she would have probably said something like, seriously? You just had to ruin this moment. So stay with me, because I'm about to show you exactly what it was that Daniel saw. What he saw he wrote down so I can read it for myself. Daniel chapter 9 and verse 27. He will confirm a covenant with many for 1/7. In the middle of the 7, he will put an end to sacrifice and offering. And at the temple he will set up an abomination that causes desolation, until the end that is decreed is poured out on him. Daniel was shown a world leader, a man that would seem to be a hero at first, a man who would succeed in everything he does, but not by his own power. Daniel describes him as a master of intrigue, which to me sounds like a fact-bending loose cannon who alienates mainstream voters with everything he says. He will get constant media attention for free. There won't be a day when he's not on every TV channel. And with a straight face, they are going to tell you that this future world leader is going to save this world from itself by confirming a 7-year covenant to broker world peace. Meanwhile, deleting messages from his personal email account to all of those other world leaders of those other countries who deny all knowledge of nuclear missiles and weapons of mass destruction. Let's just say this ain't my first rodeo. Millennials were lied to. They grew up being told, follow your passion.
Sweetheart? Hey, sweetie, listen to me.
Or go to a good school to get a good job and you'll be set. They are out there with the very bleak reality that neither a traditionally 9-to-5 job or a passion is enough to be set. Unfortunately, they were following a manual to build an object that is now obsolete. Inflation is so high, it's destroying the future millennials thought they'd have, and then the one Gen Z hoped to have is evaporating by the second.
Stop! Just leave me alone!
To them, this is the world the grown-ups made, but they're the ones who will be left to clean up the mess.
They lied.
They lied. They lied. They lied.
He lied.
And when I say they, I mean the puppet masters, those who serve Satan, the father of lies. He was a murderer from the get-go. How do millennials and Gen Z cope with mental stress, anxiety, depression, bulimia, addiction, abuse? The world was not supposed to be like this. We promised them something better than what we got. We worked so hard to build a world and a future to pass on to our kids, right? You parents will know this. You wanted your kids to become independent, so you invested everything you had into them, right from when they were just kids. Like when your son collected action figures, or built Lego, or Hot Wheels, or Warhammer, or Thomas the Tank Engine, real projects because the value was in the building. And I bet you've kept all of it in plastic containers packed away somewhere, but now your kids are growing up and it's like everything's been scrambled up and we're all trying to cope. So yeah, they lied to us. Satan lied because he's the father of lies, and things are going to get worse before they get better. And not just for the millennials and Gen Z, but for all of us. It starts to get pretty lonesome in life once you're over the age of 45, if you don't have a family. It's easy to consider the utility of an intense career. And if you have a very high quality career, then that's something that marks you out from, let's say, more typical people. And perhaps that's more of a sacrifice. But you're going to live till you're 90 in all likelihood. That's if the world doesn't end in the next 5 years. And it's not easy to consider your life across its entire span. And there's something to be said for developing a very close-knit, intimate community around you if you can manage it. You have children and then you have grandchildren. And even if you've had a very productive career, as we get older, our family becomes more and more important, and I don't think that's an uncommon experience. Satan lied, and we all fell for it.
You think?
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 Yeah, you think?
You think? You think?
You think?
You think? You think?
You think? You think?
That's what he does. And now look at the world we live in. This isn't just a random act of evil. It's a deliberate slap in God's face, a mocking. The Antichrist's goal is simple: erase all loyalty to God, replace it with loyalty to himself. So you got a 50-50 chance. But you need to improve those odds, because you will have to choose, worship him or die. The choice will come so quickly and so brutally that many won't even realize they've sealed their fate until it's too late. And Jesus said, when you see this, when you see the abomination stand in the holy place, don't argue, don't hesitate, don't think you can fight it. He said, run. Run. But where can you run when the whole world is falling under his power? The escape plan is hidden and it's urgent. Stay with me. Everything we are building toward, every warning in Scripture, leads to this one deadly moment. I have researched a lot of YouTube channels. Most of them maintain the standard biblical end times theology that I'm sure you're familiar with. However, the Rapture Ready 2025 channel is not like most of them. It's constructed a position that's not simply based on Bible study, which I like. Just like Daniel, they have developed insights by considering historical data alongside Bible study, and I think that's smart. So I did my research and I watched their video series on Daniel. They place the end of the age, and Jesus coming back in 2031, which means April 2032 at the very latest, because it's based on the Hebrew calendar. But I still have questions. So I reached out to the team at Rapture Ready 2025, and they have agreed to make themselves available and to answer all of my questions. And I've done my prep. They are virtually certain that Jesus is coming back in 2031. That's Jesus. He thinks he's Donald Trump. So are their videos really the key to unlock Daniel? I'm going to find out. So if you struggle to understand the book of Daniel, Revelation, and biblical end times, then I want you to subscribe, and when I find out, then we'll unpack. So go ahead and smash that subscribe button, and if you like what I do, then please drop us a like and share this video.